Hello, welcome to my channel. It's good to see all of you out there. I want to talk to you a little bit about inner dialogue. I had a couple comments come to me today, and it just struck me kind of really interesting about how our inner dialogue can really rule our lives and change how we feel about ourselves. We need to change our inner dialogue as we dedicate and hone our skills as we're getting better. Skills such as fasting, exercise, our self-discipline, the things that we're doing to make ourselves better, like for example the cold therapy that I'm doing, and the myriad of things that it will help me with in the end, and my 30-day challenge of doing that. And that's a cold water submersion, not a cold shower, by the way. My last video, by the way, was on cold water immersion, and I did take a bath on camera. It's very interesting. So if you'd like to see that, you can head back to my previous video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. The comments and questions I get are very educational, and people are getting helped. They tell me so, and it's really a great reward that I'm able to give back to people as I'm learning and going through this experience. I am so grateful that I can help you with it. So please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Continue on about inner dialogue. If your inner dialogue is really good, I applaud you, but I ask you to ask yourself, how can I be better? There's always a way that we can be better, even if it's a baby step. There's a method that they do in cognitive therapy where when you have a negative thought and your inner dialogue is very negative, that you use the word stop. Sometimes you can say it out loud and it'll be more effective, but say stop, and then what you do is you go back and change that negative thought into a positive, or you'll stop them within the first couple of words. So the word stop, use that, and then change your dialogue. If your inner dialogue starts out, I'm just going to use an example here, I am so fat. Change that, and you look at reality. Are you fat? So say, I am fat, but I'm doing something about it. As I fast and change for the better, I am grateful that every day I get a new day to start again and stay resolved in my goals. I am so grateful that I have my vision, that I have a home, that I have food on my plate when there's a refeed day. Be grateful for your relationship. I'm grateful for my relationship with God, with Jesus. Those personally are my higher power, is my higher power. But look at whoever is your higher power. It doesn't matter. Even if you don't believe in God or a higher power, believe in a stronger you. Here's an example of an inner dialogue story that I experienced not too long ago. It was on my way home from Canada, from Fat Camp, and I ended up staying the night in Calgary. I hadn't gotten very far, but I was really tired. Spent the night there, and in the morning I went out and was loading, my suitcases in the back seat of my car, and so I set my cane on the trunk as I opened the door, put things in. Got in my car, drove off, and started heading south towards Great Falls, Montana, in good old USA. So I get to the hotel, it's evening, I check in on the trunk of my car, and drove off without it. Now, I'm beating myself up because I bought this cane for my father when he had a traumatic brain injury and needed help walking. And my mother also used it afterwards you know, for her stroke. She used it quite a bit. So I have a lot of sentimental feelings about this cane, and I'm just going, oh, you knucklehead, what did you just do? So I tried to call the hotel in Calgary. I emailed them, couldn't get through. So, you know, I just hate myself because I had this emotional attachment to it. And if you think about what I've been saying about we don't own stuff, stuff owns us, this is a great example. So I'm sitting there in bed, just about ready to weep, and I'm starting to think about my inner dialogue, what an idiot I am. And I started thinking, well, maybe God and my parents, who I believe are my guardian angels, they don't want me using that cane anymore. They don't want me dependent upon it. And I started thinking that this might have been a blessing from them. And I can guarantee you, this is the weirdest thing. I have not used a cane since. I even bought one on the way home. And I have never used it. I've never taken the tags off of it. To this day, I have not used the cane since I left Canada. And I think that's quite a miracle in itself. I was dependent upon a cane, by the way, for several years. And so it was really interesting to take that next step and challenge and see what I was able to do. Do I still get upset about losing the cane? Yeah, I do. But every time I do, I look at it and say, that was a blessing from God and my parents, my guardian angels. I have another example. I have a Morton's neuroma on my left foot. I was diagnosed about 15 years ago, and at that time they didn't have the techniques that they have now. The doctor said until your foot starts hurting like 24/7, we won't do anything about it. We won't consider surgery until that happens to you. Well, what a Morton's neuroma is, it usually is between the third and fourth toe. That's the usual spot. It can be in different places in your foot, and what it feels like, it's a tumor on the end of a nerve, but what it feels like is you're walking on a jagged rock, and it hurts so bad that I limp and I resort to not walking, and I just sit. Well, I made the goal that I'm not going to be sedentary anymore after I lost my 42, almost 43 pounds. I'm not going to be sedentary anymore. I'm going to be more of a participant instead of just, you know, the fasting and watching what's going on. And, you know, that was because I didn't have a lot of strength. I probably didn't have a lot of self-confidence. But anyway, I started thinking, what can I do without using that foot? And I started thinking, okay, I gotta lose this 30 pounds. What can I do? Floor exercises, riding a stationary bike is something that I could do. I started using cold baths as something that would speed up my metabolism. I have used a sauna. I could start resistance training, which I haven't really done, and I can swim. I do my rebounder every day without shoes on. It doesn't seem to aggravate the neuroma, so the rebounder for me is really good part of my day, especially in the morning to get the lymph fluid moving. So there was a lot of things I could do. Today I saw a podiatrist, and I drove up to Fargo, which is about 55 miles to the clinic. And I met with the man, and he was poking around my foot. Is it right here, right here? I said, yes, yes, yes. And he goes, why don't we get up on this exam table and we'll give you an injection. And all of a sudden, all the pores in my body started opening up, and I'm sweating and going, you're going to stick a needle in my foot. Oh, it just, truly, I'm working on mental toughness, and he had me sweating buckets. Anyway, he told me this will not hurt any more than a flu shot, And I said, yeah, right. He went through the top of my foot, through, you know, between the second and third toe to the tumor that's on the bottom of my foot. And to tell you the truth, I barely felt it. And I was so surprised at how excited I had gotten before that. And of course, I dumped a bunch of cortisol, as Cole would say, when you get upset and live under stress. And I was surprised. And he says, if it starts hurting again, let's do another injection. We'll do a couple more injections before we ever consider surgery. He goes, surgery is a 10-minute surgery nowadays. They go from the top so that you only have a 2-week non-bearing on that foot. If they do it through the bottom, you have about 6 weeks before you can bear weight on your foot. But anyway, so, you know, I really worked hard at, you know, not getting so disappointed that, all right, I'm starting the non-sedentary part of my life. And one of the things that's kind of interesting is he believes, and I also agree with him, without using the cane, I was putting more pressure on my left foot, and I may have aggravated that neuroma so that it hurt 24/7, but it hurt more if I stood on my foot. And so, link it back to the story I just told you. Another reminder about, you know, blessings and then little setback and blessings. After I had the injection, I hate to admit it, but I went shopping and I didn't spend much money at all. I just walked. I walked for almost 2 hours. Not a fast clip, but I walked. May have overdone it, but I'm doing pretty good. But anyway, inner dialogue. Think about how you can change that. And I work on that every day, and it's coming easier. It's becoming quite easy. I want to thank you for watching my video. If you have enjoyed and learned anything from this video, please subscribe, like it, and share it with other people. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you.